What's up, y'all? In this video, I'm going to be talking about and reviewing the Anbernic Arc-D Retro handheld. I bought this originally in March of 2024. I originally bought it from Amazon and it was quite expensive, but thankfully they aren't as expensive now. I've always played emulators on my phone, so I figured getting a retro handheld would be way better. But all in all, if you really think of it, it's just a smartphone with buttons. Now, the feeling of the buttons and the controller pad, it feels really good. It's pretty sturdy. It's all plastic, it's not rubber. And it reminds me a little bit of the Model 2 Sega Saturn control pad with how they click and whatnot. Now, on the top, there is some functionality buttons. You can use USB to charge the Anbernic, and you can also output to HDMI. I don't do that very often. The only time I do that if I'm going to record video from it. Also on the bottom, there's 2 slots for micro SD cards and a 1/8 inch headphone jack. And when I bought the Anbernic, I bought it with a case. And it's funny because I don't really use the case that much, but it looks nice. And when you open it up, for me, it had a screen protector, it had some instructions. It did come with a SD card, but I decided to just buy my own SD cards because some of those SD cards are kind of janky. And it's really easy to put games on the SD cards. When you install the emulation station, it creates like a file folder system. That way you can dump your games in the respective folders and it will show up really nice on the UI. And also because you can use Wi-Fi with the Anbernic and that it has RetroArch, you can use retro achievements with it as well, which is pretty cool. Now, the reason why I chose the Arc-D is because I wanted it to use the touchscreen with Android OS. Then after using it for a while, I didn't like it. It just felt like I was just using my smartphone. So I switched to Linux and now I'm using a front end called Emulation Station. It works really nice. And just to let you know, Emulation Station, it does use RetroArch, but don't be afraid of it if you don't like RetroArch. It's actually, pretty easy to use. And also with Emulation Station, it has really good customization. What I like to do is to customize the UI. That way I can have the game list on the left-hand side. And then also, as you can see, there's like a screenshot or a box cover of the game. And then it also shows a small clip of the game in action. The way you can do that is you can use the Wi-Fi functionality in Emulation Station, and then you can scrape data or metadata for you can get the proper covers and the proper videos and stuff like that. But just remember that you're going to have to customize that in the UI for that to work properly. So thankfully, I got it all to work really nice, and it works really good. I like to, kind of like use it to remind me of like games that I should play or games that I've never ever played before, because I like to dump whole library of games on the Anbernic.
Hi, I would like to have
Schattenlauf.
Now, as far as game compatibility, it really depends on what type of games that you want to play. For me, I usually like to stick to 8-bit to 16-bit games and 32-bit games as well. For like I would say Dreamcast, 128-bit games, and more, I would say, advanced hardware that were made kind of in the mid 2000s. The compatibility is a little iffy, so you're gonna definitely have to do some testing, especially with arcade hardware as well, if you're gonna be using MAME and stuff. So it's gonna need a fair amount of testing, and even you might have to also play around with the emulation settings in Emulation Station, because it uses RetroArch. And so there may be different emulators that you can use and you can experiment with if you notice a certain game isn't running well. So Dreamcast is a little iffy. Sega Saturn is a little iffy as far as getting 3D games to run well. So you're gonna have to really just test what works and what doesn't. There is MS-DOS. That is a little weird, especially with the program files. So you're gonna have to just like play around with getting the games to get started. You don't have to install them or anything like that, but you're just gonna have to just find the right BAT file or the right exe to get the games running. And with those, some games run well, some games don't. You might have to play around with the CPU speed for the emulator if you notice in games are running too slow or running too fast. And then you might also have to play around with controller settings as well, because some games uses mouse inputs and some don't, and some uses like keyboard input and some uses just joystick or something like that. So you're gonna have to play around quite a bit if you're gonna do MS-DOS. All right, so let's test some games out. Why don't we try Rayforce? This one runs a little so-so for me, which is unfortunate because I really like this game. So yeah, it's kind of up to you if you kind of want to like play this game in this sort of way. All right, let's try Katsui. Katsui runs really great. I like it a lot. Alright, let's go to Sega Saturn. Why don't we play Guardian Heroes? Guardian Heroes works pretty okay. There's some frame drops, but it isn't too bad. Let's try Thunder Force 5. Alright, let's go to Dreamcast. Why don't we play a little bit of Dead or Alive 2? Fortunately, this doesn't run too well on the Anbernic.
Get ready, fight!
Next, let's try Soul Calibur. Alright, now this works really well. The FPS stays constant at 59, 60 frames per second. So this runs really well. I like it a lot.
This victory strengthened the soul of you win.
Alright, let's try Bloody Roar. This works sort of well. It freezes up too much, but the FPS is pretty good. So it's a little disappointing that it freezes like this. Next, let's try Tekken 3. Now, Tekken 3 works really good. Really good. I like this a lot. No frame drops or anything like that. No freezes. This is like really solid. Next, why don't we try Einheider? Yeah, Einheider works really good. Thank goodness. Next up are a couple games that I tried only with direct feed, so you can get to see them just up close and personal.
Let the action begin. Go! Round 2, let the action begin. Go!
1年が経とうとしている。船のエネルギー、食料が底をつき始めたため、我々はいやおうなしに地上へ降りなければならなくなっていた。この宇宙巡洋艦テトラが新型戦闘機3機を搭載しているとはいえ、今回の帰還は大きな賭けであることに違いはない。正面からの戦闘はできるか。
Can you see the sunshine? It makes me feel so free, so alive. It makes me want to survive. And the sky, it makes me feel so high. The bad times pass me by. 'Cause today, it's gonna be a brighter day. Can you feel the sunshine?
Now, you might be watching and thinking the compatibility is a little hit or miss. Just keep in mind, if you stick with certain types of games and certain consoles and hardware systems and whatnot, you'll have a really good time with the Anbernic. And also keep in mind that we are still using a beta version of Emulation Station with RetroArch. So it may change and get better in the future. And also keep in mind that you don't have to use emulation station at all. You can use a different type of OS or a different type of front end with the Anbernic. So it's something that you're going to have to research and play around with. I still think you should get this though. It is a lot cheaper than when I first bought it in March of 2024. So go ahead and get it if you really feel like you'll enjoy it. In the comment section, let me know what you think of the Anbernic, if you have one or if you're planning to get one. And also, if you have any questions, please pop them in the comment section and I'll respond one by one as quickly as I can.